Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Monae and you are watching Life is Monae. So 1 month ago was my birthday. And I told you guys then that I had a problem because I was buying an excessive amount of books. And at that time, I had already bought more books that wasn't a part of the video. And then after that, I bought some more books. And then I stopped because I said I was gonna stop and then I did. And then I ended up getting more books, but they weren't purchased with my money. And I think that's the point of capitalism, right? Is to not spend your own money. And so I did that. And technically I'm doing good because I haven't spent any of my money most of the month. Like if I make it another week, that'll be a whole month that I did not spend my own money on a book. And that's no small feat. I'm actually pretty proud of that. And I have so many books that I need to read, and the entire month of August is already booked for my TBR, so I know that I won't be purchasing any books in August. But moving past all that, I got some books to show y'all, and we're gonna get into it. So the first book that I have is Court of Miracles. So I was watching Jocelyn's channel and she got the Illumicrate version. I believe it's Illumicrate. I hope it is, but she got the Illumicrate version of this book and it was so pretty and beautiful. And then she started talking about the synopsis, and I think the synopsis sounded beautiful because of the book. I think I was just so in awe of how beautiful the book was that I was sold on the story. I'm not sure how much I want to read this, but I already bought it, so it's gonna be read. The next book that I have is Rage of Dragons. It's high fantasy, it has dragons, it's a big book, it was written by a black man. So I bought it because I'm rooting for everybody black. The next book that I have is going to be Kingdom of Back. I've been wanting to read this for a long time, and I don't know if I'm gonna love this book just because it's very musical and it follows, I believe, Mozart's sister. Yeah, it's the sister of Mozart who also wants to be a musician, but at this time women aren't really respected. So she's basically fighting against the patriarch to be respected. I'm also a huge fan of Marie Lu and her writing, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go buy it because what's the worst that can happen? If I keep thinking about it and every time I come across it I keep feeling compelled to buy it, even though it's not something that I would typically normally read, then something has to be there because I never steer me wrong. I give myself good books. I love myself, and by loving myself I got myself Kingdom of Back. So the next set of books here, I bought the whole freaking trilogy series that's out so far of An Ember in the Ashes. If you've watched the video of my book series that I want to get into, these books were listed on there. They're all in different books, but 3 of the hotties are reading this series right now. I'm gonna be hella late to the party because I just don't have time to read them, but in honor of Fashion Hottie, I'm gonna be here fashionably late and I'm gonna act like I've been here the whole time. I'm so sorry about the reflection. I'm trying to show you guys the cover, but my ring light just doesn't want the book to be great. But On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I have not read it yet, but I heard good things. I actually heard that this book is better than The Hate U Give, and so I'm super intrigued to get into it. It follows a up-and-coming rapper who's a black woman, and again, rooting for everybody black, so I bought it. The next book that I have is Monday's Not Coming. So I've been seeing this book on some of my favorite booktubers channel. Jaleesa read this book and Christine read this book. Jaleesa actually uploaded a vlog for this, and just watching the reactions and how they felt while reading this book, it just seemed like they were super gut punched. Christine read it from Editorial Edge and she said that the book made her sick, like to her stomach, and it just sounded so heavy that like I didn't want to read it at the time. But I just feel like I've been reading so many heavy books. The Hotties has me reading an autobiography. Next month I plan to read a lot of heavy hitters, and so while I'm just taking punches to the gut, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and read Monday's Not Coming because why not? I'm already reading all these other heavy books anyway, and Christine told me that I should read this, and I'm gonna listen to her because she said that she did enjoy it and that it's a good book and it talks about very important topics, and I'm always down for that. And Tiffany Jackson is a black woman. The next book that I have, I also told you guys about in my book series that I want to get into, and that's going to be Throne of Glass, that me and Monty will be reading. And you guys had a really good reaction to me and him reading this book, so we're trying to figure out what we want to do. He said he's down for a vlog, so we'll probably vlog us reading the first book. Maybe the first 2 books we'll vlog separately, and you guys can check out our channel and see our reactions, but maybe we'll do a live show after the 3rd book, just because there is a couple of books in these series. I don't want us to have to do a live show after every book, but I will say that you guys will definitely be getting some vlogs of our reactions and how we feel about this book. And just stay tuned for our live show, because it's me and it's Monty, and it's gonna be lit, and the hotties are gonna be in the comments, and you don't want to miss it. The next book that I have is going to be The Unspoken Name. What I know about this book: it follows a girl who is supposed to die on a certain day, and the day that she goes to die, this man comes along and he says, hey, instead of sacrificing yourself for some shit ass greater good, how about you just come and let me train you as an assassin? And she's like, you know what? Being an assassin sounds better than dying. I'm down. And now I own it, and I'm gonna read it. The next book that I have is House in the Cerulean Sea. Do I know what this book is about? You know that I don't, but I bought it and I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna tell you what it's about when I'm done. Okay, so the next book that I have is going to be Malice. I was on Amazon looking for books to buy, and in the recommendation sections where Amazon be like books you might like, because you know they want to explore my capitalism while my credit card is already out, it said that I might like Malice. And I remember asking in the group if anyone has read Malice. Aaron said that it was an adult fantasy, and I'm a sucker because that's all I needed to buy it, because adult fantasy is just sacred. And it just always seems to hit for me right now. I haven't been let down by an adult fantasy this year at all. So walking on faith here, walking on faith. The next book that I have is going to be Royal Assassin. This one is definitely a lot chunkier than the first book, and I don't know when I'm going to be emotionally ready to read this book. I might have to reread The Starless Sea after this, because Aaron says that this one gets a lot more depressing than the first one, and if you've watched my blog, then you know the first one was hella depressing. Just send me positive energy, because I'm gonna be depleted after I get into this book. The next book that I have is The Raven Tower, which I believe is a new adult or adult fantasy book. Let's read the synopsis here, as if I don't already own it and now obligated to read it. Okay, so what I gather is that there's a tower that has a raven who's like a god that looks out over the people, and there's a usurper. The next book that I actually got for free from Thrift Books, because I had a certificate to get a free book. And this was also a book that I mentioned in the book series that I want to start, because as you guys know, I recently read Priory, and apparently this is where it's really at. I want to kind of read this with some of the people that I read Priory with, just so we can get a comparative of her writing and I can really discuss it with them, because a lot of the people who read Priory with me, it was their first time reading a book by Samantha Shannon. So I think it would be really interesting for us to go back and just talk about her writing and the differences and which books we like the most. So I haven't talked to them about this yet, but it's going to happen. I just need to tell them and get them on board. No biggie. The next book that I have is Mirage, which RC actually got me to buy because it was on Depop and it has sprayed edges and it came with fan art and it was like $12, and I just was like, why not? I actually bought this book and it has like fantasy vibes on the cover, but it's actually sci-fi. And I know Fadwa actually loves this book. Her whole Twitter literally says that she is a stan account for this book, and so now I'm just interested to read it off that alone. I know this follows a girl who is an identical doppelganger to a princess of a world, and the princess has a lot of people who wants her head to leave her shoulders, and so she's literally put in place of the princess as a puppet and as a show person, so that if anybody does succeed in their attempt to kill her, it won't be the real person, it'll be the doppelganger. The next book that I have is The Wicker King, which apparently it follows a character who I believe has a lot going on mentally, and they have a hard time deciphering between what's actually reality and what's in their head. And it was written by a Black woman. And so I'm actually kind of proud that my capitalism went to a good cause, because we're supporting the culture out here, guys, and it doesn't get any better than that. The next book that I bought because of my baby Tolani. She actually did a book where she recommended hood feminism, and I thought it was going to be about hood females, which I am one of them, but it's actually so much more, and that makes it so much more worth the money, and I cannot wait to read this book. I actually plan to annotate and tab this one pretty heavy, and Tolani just has great outlooks and perspectives on books, and I really love her nonfiction recommendations because they just hit different. It's like they touch me, and literally just because of her I bought this book. So in the first part of my birthday book haul, I did tell you guys that I bought City of Brass and Kingdom of Copper, and then I found out that Empire of Gold recently came out, and I already have book 1 and book 2, so I'm invested at this point. So kind of gotta buy book 3 to finish off the collection, and so I have Empire of Gold. You may be asking yourself, you may be wondering, did Monae read the synopsis for this book after her birthday book haul? She didn't. She did not. And those are all the books that I have, and it is the last ones that you're gonna see me haul for at least towards the end of the year. I don't plan to be hauling anything until I get through all of these books. There's so many series that I'm gonna be reading, and I'm just busy and booked. And so if you see me online, don't recommend any books to me because my wallet literally just can't take it anymore. You guys gotta let up. You gotta give me a break. I'm spending too much money. I'm just glad that I got to support so many authors of color, because those are my people and we gotta represent. As always, thanks for stopping by my channel. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.